Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. It is me, Cynthia, and today I want to talk to you about the 10 secrets for balancing a family and work life. Let's get started. I'm going to share with you all of the sauce that's inside of the ingredients. That's backwards. I'm going to share with you all of the ingredients inside of the sauce for creating that balance within your family and work life. Let's get started. The first thing that you want to do are to ensure that you create boundaries in both your personal life and your work life. And why do you want to do that? Why do you want to create boundaries? That's because you need to mentally check in and out of each boundary. You need to do that so that you can keep your sanity and so that people in both your personal life and your work life know when you are emotionally and physically available for them. And you're also doing this for yourself so that you can check in and out of each one and you're not stuck in one box or combining both of them all the time. You don't want to do that. Number 2, stop being a superhero. You might be thinking, oh, no one can do it as well as me. And that may be true actually, because I know in certain situations in my life, I think the same thing, that no one can do it as well as I can do it in certain situations. Not everything, obviously, but you need to stop thinking that you have to do everything, because you don't have to. You don't have to do absolutely everything inside of your personal life and in your work life. You can delegate tasks to people, to loved ones, to co-workers. If you're a manager, you have people below you, you can delegate tasks to them so that you don't have to be stuck doing everything the best possible way. And another thing, you can train people to do things the way that you would do them. Yes, you can. And in your family, you could do the same thing with your kids, husband. Hello, okay, take advantage of that. Some examples of things that you can do that don't involve necessarily your spouse or your kids could be home cleanliness, organization, or seasonal designs around the house, such as if it's Thanksgiving and you want to decorate the house for the fall, or if it's Christmas or the holidays or just summertime, whatever you want to do. If you do seasonal designs in your home, you can delegate other people to do those tasks. You can also have some say in how that is done as well, so it's not completely up to you. Perfecting the laundry game for the entire family. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. Teach people how to do their own laundry. And I know women do 88% of the laundry. That's an actual statistic. 88% of the laundry within a household, women actually do. Maybe step down a little bit from that. You're not a superhero. You don't have to do everything for everybody. Maybe you can have the kids, teach the kids how to do their own laundry, or have the kids sort their own laundry. And then start to, depending on how old they are, they can, do the laundry themselves. Husband can do his own laundry. Landscaping, gardening for your home. You can hire someone, outsource that for another company, get word of mouth through someone else that does landscaping, or have your kids do the laundry if they're old enough to do the landscaping also. Okay, number 3, creating a schedule or / time management. You know what? The thing about schedules, let's just say this. People think that schedules are very time consuming to create, which they can be. They can be very time consuming. However, they don't have to be. You can make sure you delegate a certain amount of tasks to create those tasks every day, once a week. Every Sunday could be your scheduling day, where that's your time to create your schedules for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday throughout the entire week. Or just that morning, you can create your schedule for that morning. Or some people like to do a whole 30 days up front, 3 months, 6 months. Let's not be too eager and say a year, but you never know. Some people might actually do that. And if it works for you, it works for you. And that's great. That's what you should go for. I must add though, you want to create room for error, just in case there's something that happens in your schedule. Don't make it a little bit too tight where you don't have room for a traffic jam, or if someone were to come to your office after hours and ask a question about whatever you do for a living, you know what you do. So if someone's asking more questions, or if there's something that you may not have allowed room for, you might want to give yourself a little bit of wiggle room and not make your schedule super, super tight, like down to the minute or down to the half-hour mark, and just leave an hour here for relaxation or meditation or whatever you need to add in your time for to have room for error. Now you may ask yourself this: how do you create a schedule for something that has two polar opposite worlds? You got your family life and you got your work life. They might be completely opposite. You might be an accountant that has 6 kids, And you might figure out, how am I supposed to create a schedule for something like that? And you're already doing a schedule and you may not even realize it. But what you need to do, the first thing you need to do is to create a list of normal tasks that you would do for your family and your work life on a daily basis. And then you take those tasks and you separate them into categories. And you get a planner, you get a digital planner, or you can use a physical planner, whichever one allows you space to actually write on it. So that's up to you, whatever works for you. And you want to hone in on a weekly schedule, breaking down your time into 1 to 2 hour chunks. And again, allow room for error, allow room for pop-up appointments, and anything else that can get in the way. If you really want to get in the nitty-gritty of all that scheduling, you can set an alarm for every one of those 1 to 2 hour chunks that I was just referring to, and you can get everything alarmed that way so that you don't forget anything. Because sometimes when you have it written down in a planner, it may be a little bit more difficult for some people depending on how things work for you with opening the planner and remembering that, oh, I have to open it every hour to make sure I do the task that I'm doing. But if you have an alarm that goes off on your phone and you have it on your schedule, girl, you are in for it, okay? That is the perfect combination if it works for you. But try it. Number 4, know when to unplug. This is so imperative. We all need to recharge at some point when you're trying to balance your work life with your family life. It's imperative that will happen. I suggest trying to unplug weekly if possible, and unplugging could look like horseback riding, yoga class, what else? Let's see. Drawing, learning a new skill of sorts. It could be learning how to do crochet or anything. That was completely random, but learning how to do something that you've had an interest in for a long time. Gaining a hobby, a new hobby. Something that's fun, not something that you think is a hobby, but you're really just organizing the kitchen drawers. That's really not that fun. It's really not. Don't do that. I mean, do it, but don't make it a hobby. Make it something that's outside of the house, something that you can do with other people, something like that. Number 5, have open communication with both those groups in your life, your work life and your family life. You want to make sure you take the time to communicate with your family and friends. If you have a work task that is a complete obligation, you must get it done. Just communicate that with them ahead of time, and I'm sure they'll be more than understanding. They know what you do, and they will be able to just be like, okay, we're gonna make sure Cynthia has her time to do XYZ for X amount of time like she requested, and we will just schedule this another time to do XYZ. So if you have to schedule, I know like most people, once they get to my age, you have to schedule fun with your friends and your family, and even with your kids sometimes. If you want to do something and you want to make sure it actually gets done and do something different, you have to schedule it. Creating a schedule and also having the open communication around that schedule and everything else that falls into place. This is all part of the sauce. This is part of the secret sauce. These are the ingredients. You got to follow along with it. Number 6 is figure out techniques to manage your stress. We all are going to deal with stress at some point or another. And the older you get and the more kids you have, the more stress you're more likely to have, especially if you have a demanding job. So you have to figure out how you're managing it so that you are not being torn down and worn out by all of the stress that is happening in your life, that you find yourself not wanting to do anything for anyone and you just don't want to do anything. That's just not good. You don't want to. Maybe you have a skill already that you use for managing your stress, or maybe it needs some tweaking. There's nothing wrong with needing some tweaking. Just be honest with yourself. If it's not working, then try something different. Here are some techniques for managing stress when it feels like it's just becoming way too much. You can practice some deep breathing. This is an obvious one that a lot of people like to do. Literally in the moment, take a step back, even if you have to pull over the car sometimes on the highway. Probably not highway. Pull over the car somewhere else, into a parking lot nearby or something, and practice some deep breathing. Closing your eyes, maybe put on some relaxation music, and do that for about 3 to 5 minutes, 1 to 2 times a day, and it will start to make a difference. Speaking of making a difference 3 to 5 times a day, guided meditations will definitely help. So you can find those on Spotify. I use some on YouTube. YouTube has a lot of good ones that have visual things if you need to look at something, or if you just need auditory, you can just go go to Spotify and you can find some guided meditations that way. The last thing to help you with that is to eat or drink healthy. And this is, we know how to eat and drink healthy. This is just how it is. By the time you get an adult, you know what healthy eating is. I hope so. So I'm not going to go into that too much, but that is a big part of stress management, is how you're eating. If you're eating a lot of junk food, and you're eating a lot of things high in fat and salt content, then you may want to consider eating a little bit differently or having a little bit less sodium in your diet. And that's something that you should look at because you know what your diet looks like. Number 7, don't forget about self-care. Self-care is very important. And we might forget what self-care looks like, but it's something that everyone has to do at some point. And especially when you have kids, self-care is so important because you can become drained very quickly. And I know you know that because you're watching this video and you're like, Cynthia, come on, give me some of this meat and potatoes, some of the secret sauce ingredients, and this is what I'm giving you. You need to have some self-care. Do you have self-care in your life? Think about this. If you don't, add it into your lifestyle. And when it comes to self-care, some things that might be good are just going to the salon, for an example, going to the salon, going to the gym, or exercising at home. You don't have to go to a gym. You don't have to have a home gym and weights and stuff like that, unless that's what you want. If you don't want to buy the weights and do it on your own terms in your house, then you can go to the gym. There's exercise apps that you can use also. And a lot of people, I feel like when it comes to self-care, they think they're doing self-care, and this might sound a little bit of judgmental, but I'm gonna put it out there because it's true. But when it comes to self-care, they may just scroll through their phone on TikTok or Instagram or Twitter or whatever, and they, instead of spending some time to reevaluate themselves and to grow further as a person, they may be hindering themselves by filling themselves with things that are not necessarily helpful, and they might not realize it in the moment, but it's something that may be a hindrance later on. And the only way to know that is to do some self-reflection. That's the only way. You want to do a task that makes you feel better in your environment. It may be changing your clothes. It might be going shopping for something, not a shopping spree or something where you're spending way too much money beyond your budget. Something within your budget, things that are healthy. You want healthy tasks to do. Number 8, know when to seek support. You have to know when you need to ask for help. You may need to ask your aunt, you may need to ask your sister, your mom, or you might just need to seek professional help and get a cleaning service for your house. Or you can do maybe therapy. Therapy is good. There's a lot of different types of therapy. There's occupational therapy, there's mental health therapy, psychotherapy, cognitive behavioral therapy. There's so many different types of therapy, and you can research all the different kinds, figure out what type you need for yourself, and then go after it. Number 9, we're getting to the end of this. Set a top 3, goal setting. A top 3, this might be floating around on the internet in a few places, but I think I've seen it in a few people's videos, maybe Aaron on Demand, maybe. But what you need to do is set 3 goals for yourself. The concept basically is to set those top main 3 goals that you want to accomplish for yourself in that day. And you don't want to overwhelm yourself by having too many goals in one day. Like, you want to have all of your goals listed, but those main 3 are the ones that once you get them done, you're like, okay, I at least accomplished these for my day. So if I get nothing else done, I did the main 3, and I'm good with that. And you have to be okay with that. The reason why you want to be okay with that is because you don't want to set a long laundry list of goals and then you're just so overwhelmed that you just end up getting nothing done because you're just jumping from task to task and you're trying to get too much done, and it becomes a stress thing, and you're not managing your stress techniques. You're not using your stress techniques to manage your stress. I think I said that right. You're not using? Yes. You don't want to do that. And remember, quality over quantity. Remember, quality over quantity is what's actually important. And that's what actually counts. What I mean is sitting in a room with your children, for example, and playing for game night or watching a movie is more important than sitting in the room with them. Well, sitting in a room with them while you're engaging with them is more important than sitting in the room with them with your laptop out, checking your work emails the entire time because you're trying to multitask and get more than things done. We don't multitask very well as humans. I don't suggest that you do that. If you're going to be present, be present. Your children will remember that. They'll remember if you're always the one that's working while you're spending time with them. And they're going to remember that when they're older. And I don't know if you want your kids to remember you that way. So you tell me in the comment section, have you utilized any of these ingredients in the secret sauce for your lifestyle? See if you have. If you have, comment below, see if any of these are working for you. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.